President.
Senator from Missouri.
I object.
Objection is heard.
Mr. President.
Senator from Missouri.
Mr. President.
Senator Wilson.
I'm sorry.
Senator from Rhode Island has the floor.
I believe I retain the time, but if the senator would like to make a short statement and then object. I think the easiest thing to do is let me yield such time as the senator requires.
Well, I thank the chairman. It's always a privilege to be on the floor with the senator from Rhode Island and to serve with him on the committee. So thank you for that. I would just say this. It has been nearly a year now since the events, the catastrophe in Kabul that claimed the lives of 13 service members, including from my home state of Missouri. This was a catastrophe of this administration's making. And it has been now nearly 2 weeks, maybe 3, since I began to enter into the record, page by painstaking page, this report undertaken by U.S. Central Command about that disaster at Abbey Gate in Kabul, about those deaths, not to mention the hundreds of American civilians who were left behind. I'm entering this report into the record so the American people can see it, because I cannot convince my friend from Rhode Island to hold a public hearing on this report. And I cannot convince the White House to stop their cover-up of the events at Abbey Gate and the role they played in it. And this is not for lack of trying. For months on end, I have come to this floor and asked for a public hearing on this report. I have asked my colleagues, I have written to the chairman, I have spoken to members of the committee who, by the way, say they have no objection. And just last week, the White House reached out to me and said, "What is it that you want?" And I said, "I want accountability for what happened in Afghanistan and Abbey Gate, and specifically, I want a public hearing on this report." To which the White House said, "It's up to the chairman." So I hope that we can make some progress on actually getting accountability for what happened for the service members whose lives were lost. And we can end this continual Vietnam-esque year-long effort to push this crisis out into the shadows, to ignore it as if it never happened, and to deny the American people the accountability that service members deserve. With that, I yield. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Retaining my time, Mr. President. Well, I respectfully disagree with the senator from Missouri on this matter. The Senate Armed Services conducts and has conducted extensive oversight on Afghanistan. Committee actions include 7 public and closed hearings regarding the Afghan war, lessons learned, and ongoing regional counterterrorism requirements since the withdrawal last August. And Senator Hawley has participated in all of these. The fiscal year 2022 National Defense Authorization Act contained a provision, Section 1092, that mandated the Department of Defense deliver quarterly briefings in both unclassified and classified form on the security situation in Afghanistan and ongoing counterterrorism efforts. The classified briefings have taken place on January 20th, April 14th, and July 21st. The unclassified briefings have taken place on February 14th and April 25th. An additional unclassified briefing will be held tomorrow, coincidentally, and Senator Hawley has full access to all of these briefings. The fiscal year 2022 National Defense Authorization Act also contained a provision, Section 1069, which requires a yearly assessment of our over-the-horizon counterterrorism capabilities in Afghanistan. While the first installment has not yet been delivered to the committee, Senator Hawley will have access to those assessments, as well as all of my colleagues. The FY22 National Defense Authorization Act further mandated the establishment of the Afghanistan War Commission, which will spend 3 years examining all aspects of the 20-year war in depth. All the commissioners have been appointed, and we expect the commission to commence work in the near term. And Senator Hawley will have the same access to the commission's findings as everyone else. What I think the senator does not understand is that the events that took place at Abbey Gate were not unique to that moment in time. They were the culminations of 20 years of actions by presidents of both sides, by commanders on both sides. And in order to understand what truly happened at Abbey Gate, we have to look at all of those periods. What was the effect of Donald Trump's agreement with the Taliban, excluding the legal government of Afghanistan, to essentially leave? And what other events created a situation that led directly to the situation at Abbey Gate? Without that context, this will simply be a way to vilify the administration, a way to point out shortcomings, and it won't get to what we really should be focused on. What profound lessons can we learn from 20 years in Afghanistan that will assist us in the future, that will protect our men and women in uniform? Again, if the focus is on political retaliation and retribution, that's part of this organization. But if we want to focus on protecting today the lives of men and women who serve and their families who will grieve if they are lost, then we have to take a broader view, which we are in the Commission, which we are when we bring our experts in on a frequent basis to talk about Afghanistan, and which we must do by filling these positions in the Department of Defense. Without the support of a functioning Department of Defense, we will be in a situation where we are putting at risk the soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians that protect this nation. And with that, Mr. President, I would yield the floor.